we've been talking about short-term mission since we got married, and God put it into the heart of Pastor Brent to go to Thailand, and we said maybe well, why don't we join them? Maybe God has something. It was amazing because when we were in Thailand, I was not expecting to give my testimony about my dad, but Greg got sick, and then Brent said that, oh, can you give your testimony about your dad, your relationship with your dad, and how God changed his life? And I said, okay, I'll do it. And then that night, I'm just, praying there, and I'm just, talking to God. And then I said, Lord, can you just tell my dad that, I'll be talking to people about his life. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? I always say we might end up, full-time missionaries. That's where our heart is. But, we still want to be, following God's will in our lives. At this point of time, we're more senders, supporting other missionaries who are in the field. And at the same time, we want to experience where God wants us to be also. So it's a mixed emotion, but at the same time, doing God, experiencing God is really, really, and that's the good thing when you trust everything to the Lord, and even though in between of that there are circumstances, unavoidable circumstances, and every one of us go through storms of life, but we know at the end of that storm that there will always hope, I think.
Is there anything you want to say to all of us or to all the people watching now that the Lord has impressed into your heart?
I think my message is for those who still have your parents with you, or not even living with you, but you still have them, that continue to develop that relationship with them, and restoring relationship. I mean, probably some of you will say that is really impossible, but all things are possible with God. Just have that willing heart to let go. They might have some bitterness and pain, but I also believe that there's a room for forgiveness and healing. And for those who, let's say, their parents, has nothing to do with them, with you anymore, that even though they don't want to forgive you, that you forgive them and bless them, and just let them know that they don't need to ask forgiveness from you, but you just have to let them know that you forgive them. Because if you go back to what God did into your life, how God forgiven you, and what Christ did for you, and then I think there's a hope that you'll be able to let go of your past or the pain that your parent caused in your life.
I'm Cathy Begley, and I attend Hope Chapel North Shore in Haiku. I've lived on Maui since '73, but I've become a member of our church since 2001. I've been asked to tell you a little bit about a gift that I've been given, and that gift came in the way of Gary Begley. I met Gary at an AA meeting, and he was so brash and so bold in his introduction of himself that I kind of set him off to the side, and by the end of that first evening at a meeting, he told me, I'm not going to ask you for your phone number right now, but maybe the next time you'll let me have it. And then I walked away and I said to God, well, maybe the next time I see him, I'll give him my number. So 2 days later, I'm at my usual AA meeting in Kihei, and I don't notice that Gary's sitting in the room until the end of the meeting. And as we get up to say the Serenity Prayer, I see him out of the corner of my eye, and I think, oh my God, maybe I'll give him my phone number today. So we make, there's a group of us that are going to breakfast, and there was going to be a group of us. We're all going to meet at Stella Blues for breakfast, and the only person who shows up is Gary. And I don't know how that happened, but it did. And so Gary and I sit down and we have our meal, and he asks to say a blessing over the food, and he takes my hands and he prays in Jesus' name, and I found that to be so different. I don't know any male, I don't know anybody that prays in Jesus' name from AA, and for the whole breakfast, that's all he talked about, was how Jesus worked in his life, what Jesus has done for him in his life, and that everything that he had that was of any worth was because of Jesus. And so by the end of our 2-hour breakfast, I decided that I needed to know who this Jesus was that Gary knew. It turned out that Gary and I had a lot in common. One of the things was that being a single person and having to watch my money, I would tear my paper towels in half so that when I needed napkins. And apparently that was something that he had been doing for many years as well. And when I tore the paper towel in half, he kind of went, and I looked at him and he said, you know, that's what I do too. And so it was just the beginning of how we were very similar in a lot of ways. From that point, he just treated me so different from any man that I had ever known or been with intimately, and it was like 1 Corinthians chapter 13 type of love, where he treated me kindly, he treated me more lovingly, he did not hold anything against me, any foolish stuff that I did. He didn't keep track of stuff like that. He forgave. Our relationship was based completely on the role of a Christian husband and the role of a Christian wife. He was my third husband. I wanted to do the marriage differently, and so I made it a point to find out what it was that a Christian wife would be. I had asked Jesus to come into my life September 15th, 1996, and all because of how I saw Jesus working in Gary's life, all because of the people he introduced me to and the lives that they had. And I wanted that peace, I wanted that calm, I was done with chaos, and I wanted to do this marriage different, so we began marriage counseling with Pastor Larry Elias. And by the end of our counseling, which covered what my childhood was like, what my brokenness was, what my needs might be that Gary needed to understand, and what Gary's needs might be that I needed to understand.